I am so glad to hear that men have not been able to see me for the past 5 years because sharing a planet with them is nothing short of exhausting.
Women aren't slowly realizing they're invisible to men because men became cruel. They're realizing it because men stopped pretending.
What happens when the male gaze disappears? I used to center my life around beauty. I know it sounds vain. When I was younger, it was literally the only thing that I thought was my worth. Being beautiful, power, whether it was getting into first in line in the VIP section at nightclubs, or getting the chosen table at a fancy restaurant with the man I was with. It was a way to get provided for and supported by men. I just got out of the gym. At my age, I'm invisible. And that's okay. There's actually a freedom in being invisible. If you're watching this and you're much younger, you can feel kind of like a piece of meat walking on the street. If you're in other countries, getting catcalls, always being objectified by men. I did a post about this earlier, really grieving the loss of beauty because it was such a part of my identity. And I'm coming to acceptance because beauty fades. What we have is our inner essence, and that doesn't. In fact, the more we cultivate our frequency and connect to our soul, our radiance expands. Connect through your authenticity. The more you discover and show up as your authentic self. And that's something that none of the beauty industry will tell you. And no one can take that away, even as we get more wrinkles, gain weight, and get hair that turns gray. Mine's starting to pop through. So if you're young, appreciate the leverage that beauty gives you, but know that it's not who you are. And society has used beauty and all the makeup products and all the things that we think as women that we need to feel okay. It's a way to diminish us and to weaken our power. We're living during a time when the feminine, divine feminine, is rising. We need you to connect to your truth, your unique gifts to share with the world. And that has very little to do with the way you physically present in the world. We're talking about your essence. I'm curious your thoughts, whether you're young and you've been attached to your beauty, or if you're in the process of transitioning to another season, coming to terms with the loss of beauty.
For years, attention felt automatic. Likes, DMs, compliments, orbiters doing emotional labor for free. That constant noise created the illusion of importance. But when men recalibrated, when they stopped chasing, stopped validating, stopped volunteering energy, the silence exposed the truth. Visibility was rented, not owned.
There's an exact age when women become invisible at work. For me, it was 47. If this is happening to you, you need to hear this. I was in a meeting that I'd led for 3 years, same role, same expertise, but suddenly a 32-year-old interrupted me mid-sentence to explain my strategy back to me, and the room nodded along like it was normal. 6 months earlier, that would not have happened. What changed? I turned 47. It's not gradual. There's a specific moment when you go from valued voice to the old lady in the corner. Your ideas get credited to younger colleagues, managers stop asking your opinion, and you're suddenly not a culture fit for projects that you normally would lead. Meetings, they get canceled or scheduled without you, and you're physically in the room, but functionally invisible. And here's the cruelest part. You're doing the best work of your career. You have decades of pattern recognition. You see problems 3 moves ahead of anyone else. But none of that seems to matter because you've crossed some crazy, invisible age line. They've decided you're obsolete. And the worst part, you start believing them too. You make yourself smaller. That's how they win. So what age did this happen to you? Drop your number below and follow if you refuse to disappear.
Now comes the confusion. Why don't men approach anymore? Because men learned approaching often meant rejection with a lecture, effort with no appreciation, and risk with no upside. When the cost of engagement outweighs the benefit, men don't argue, they disengage. Quietly. Permanently.
Let's talk about one of the most confusing dynamics in a relationship. When you're wanted, but still feel invisible. Not disrespected, not mistreated, just not fully seen. So I talked about the subject before, but there was a time where my favorite thing to do with my husband was get dressed up, beat face, sexy outfit, the whole thing, and go out to dinner or hit a lounge or some shit like that. That was our thing. But more often than not, I would be sitting across from him looking like a whole damn meal and quietly hoping another man might notice me. Not because I wanted someone else, but because I didn't feel felt by the one I was with. And before y'all crucify me like y'all did Aisha Curry, I think I'm speaking to exactly what she was trying to explain when she said a while back that she missed male attention. For me, when I heard that, it wasn't about validation. It was about reflection. That quiet craving for someone to mirror back your magic. When the man beside you sees you, but doesn't really see you. And here's what's wild. It wasn't that my husband didn't like me. And like I said before, he complimented me. He would touch me. He was good in bed. Shit, almost too good, which honestly clouded my judgment. Looking back, I can admit that at one point I was probably stigmatized, not deeply connected. The loving was great, but the presence just wasn't there. He showed up in body, but not in spirit. And I need y'all to hear this part clearly. He was not a bad man. This wasn't, at least in my case, some toxic cold-blooded situation. It was misalignment, because there's a difference between being desired and being truly worshipped by your man, between being close and being attuned to. What I was craving wasn't more sex or more compliments. It was that thing where a man is locked the fuck in, where you feel like you're the only woman in the room, not because he said it, but because his energy never left your body. And I just recently had this realization after 16 years together that I never felt that. And if you've ever wondered why you still felt unseen in a relationship that looked fine on the outside, it might be that. Not a lack of love, but a lack of presence. A misfire in alignment. A beautiful setup that just never had the spark you really needed. And that's not your fault, but it is your truth. So if you're digging this conversation, we go deep into stuff like this in the Speakeasy, and you can join it at the link in my bio.
What stings isn't rejection. It's irrelevance. Being ignored hits harder than being criticized. No reactions. No explanations. Just men walking past, eyes forward, focused on peace. And once a man realizes his attention is valuable, he stops donating it to people who treated it like background noise.
Is there anyone else out there in their 40s like me who feels kind of invisible? Like, I'm not as cute as I was in my 20s and 30s. I'm definitely not as fit as I was in my 20s and 30s. I don't have as much hair as I used to have. It's literally falling off like the top of my head. Oh! It's falling off the top of my head. It just spit everywhere. Not as graceful as I used to be. And like the hair that is growing back in, it's gray, which is fine. I'm good with going gray. I've had this gray streak in my hair for a really long time and I've just been rocking it. But like, I don't have any more eyebrows. I don't have any more eyelashes. I just don't feel pretty anymore. Who else is out there who feels this way? Because it can't just be me. But also I feel like there needs to be this whole revolution of women like us on social media to prove to everyone that we're still here and we're still valid and we're still relevant.
So the narrative shifts to coping slogans. Men are intimidated. I'm focusing on myself. Dating is broken. Translation: the leverage is gone. Attraction doesn't respond to affirmations, and desire doesn't negotiate with entitlement. Men didn't change their preferences, they stopped apologizing for them. This isn't a conspiracy. It's cause and effect.
Some women don't get asked out. Even when they're pretty and smart and have their whole life together. And a lot of people don't know this, but it has nothing to do with your value. Sometimes high value women, because that's what we are, get approached the least. And let me tell you why. First, you give off I'm good energy. You walk like you handle your own life. Men see that and think, well, she don't need me. Second, men are scared of rejection, like terrified. So if you look too put together, they assume you already got options, even when you don't. Third, you might look unapproachable without meaning to. Not in a rude way, just your face, your pace, your focus. Men only approach women who look relaxed and open. Fourth, a lot of men think you're already taken. Pretty women hear this all the time. I thought you had a man. So then they don't even try. And fifth, you may not be in spaces that make conversation easy. If your life is work, home, errands, and then work again, you won't cross paths with men who naturally start talking to you. But here's the truth. You can be beautiful, healed, kind, funny, and high value and still not get approached. It's not you, it's the perception of you. Men approach women who feel safe and easy to talk to, not always the best women. So don't overthink it. You're not the problem. Your energy is just strong. The right man won't be scared of that.
When men choose calm over chaos and purpose over performance, invisibility becomes the new reality. Not because men are angry, but because they're uninterested. And nothing humbles faster than realizing the spotlight didn't turn off out of malice. It simply moved on.
Are women more privileged than men? Yes, they are, and it's not even close. Women are loved just for existing. They get attention, compliments, protection, free drinks, doors opened for them, etc. And a man, he's invisible until he proves that he can provide, protect, perform, pay, or add value. In other words, earn your spot or disappear. Guess what? A woman can also decide if you become a dad or not. You get zero say. She's pregnant, her body, her choice, my dudes. End of story. Do you want the kid? Doesn't matter. Don't want it? Doesn't matter. 18 years of child support slammed on you without consent. And worse, she cheats. She claims the kid is yours. You raise it for years and discover that it's not yours later. Court, in many places, still force you to pay until 18 years of age. So you're screwed. One day, she wakes up unhappy, files for divorce, no proof needed, and walks with primary custody most of the time, years of child support, and many times a lifetime of alimony plus half of your assets. Oh, and she isn't required to show you that the money is actually helping your kid. It all goes to her. She can also falsely accuse you with zero consequences. She can claim assault, abuse, rape, online to the police and in court. And if it's proven a total lie, she gets a little slap on the wrist. But you lose your job, your reputation, your sanity, and you can spend years in prison even if you're innocent. The system shields her more than the truth. Men are disposable, not women. Draft registration, men only. Most workplace deaths, men. Most homeless, men. Suicide rate 4 times higher, men. The double standards never end. Man hits a woman, monster, jail. Woman hits a man, what did you do to her? Man cheats, you're trash. Woman cheats, she was just unhappy, he failed. The bottom line is, women get safety nets, sympathy, legal advantages, social worship, and endless help. Men don't. That is just the truth. Pretending that we're both equal is gaslighting half of the population. So wake up.
What really hurts is that invisibility arrived without a warning. One day the attention slowed. Then it stopped. No arguments, no rejection speeches, no closure, just men redirecting their eyes, time, and energy elsewhere. And when there's no reaction to fight against, there's nothing to blame but reality.
This comment isn't mine or from my video, so go watch the original video and read the comment, if you want to. I just really liked this comment and I wanted to add to it, which is something that I think people aren't really talking about or haven't added. And that I think this alone and that women over 45 connecting with each other kind of has to do with our own internalized misogyny. The men don't pay attention to us anymore, not in the way they once did. So we can't use our sexuality or our femininity to get in the room. So we don't have to compete with each other because we kind of can't anyway, right? So we recognize that and we start friendships with women, which is both a little sad, but also beautiful, because some of us recognize that wouldn't it have been wonderful if we had this all along?
Men didn't wake up one morning and decide to be cruel. They just learned that attention is leverage, and they'd been giving it away for free. Once men realized their focus was valuable, they stopped handing it to people who treated it like background noise. Peace replaced pursuit. Purpose replaced performance.
Listen, I know what it feels like to go out and feel invisible to men. Like you are not getting looks, or maybe you're getting looks, but no one's ever approaching you. I know what it feels like to go out and men are checking out your friends, but you're completely overlooked. I could never figure out why this was happening to me, and I was at my wit's end because I wanted men to approach me, and I was always the one getting looks but never getting approached, and I felt so lonely and so hopeless about my ability to ever meet someone outside of the dating apps. So here's the thing, I'm a coach, and I got to work using my tools to rewire my brain and to shift my energy around men, and a crazy thing happened. I became the hot girl. Like, I became the girl who was showing up to stuff and men were like circling me. Men started flirting with me, opening doors for me, buying me drinks, giving me numbers. And you know what the really crazy part of this is I didn't actually change that much. But what I did change was my energy. I changed my thoughts. I changed how I saw myself, and I changed my level of openness when I went out of my house. So if you resonate with this, I want you to know one thing. This can be changed. This is not your fate, but it is your fault in the most helpful way possible, because you are projecting a level of closed offness and you are not presenting yourself as somebody who is approachable. And this is both in your energy and in the way you're actually physically carrying yourself and interacting with people. Because when you shift your energy and you shift the way that you're thinking, then your actions just naturally change from there. So in order to create this change for yourself, you need to change 3 things. Number 1 is your energy, and you do that by addressing the thoughts, the sabotaging patterns in your life that are causing you to close off energetically and close off your heart. This is your past wounds, your past hurts, your bitterness, your lack of a sense of worthiness, the areas where you struggle with your confidence. Because when you're carrying all of that around, your fears of getting hurt and opening up are causing you to feel closed off to men. And yes, people sense this about you. We are all sensing each other's energy all the freaking time. So like I said before, when you shift this, you naturally start presenting yourself as someone who is more open. And this is the second thing that you need to shift, is your openness cues. This literally means that when you go out, you're smiling at people, you're saying hi, you're flirting a little bit, you're having open body language. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. And the third thing you got to change is the way that you carry yourself. This is your confidence. This is the way that you walk around. This is the way that you shift from maybe being a little bit quirky to a little bit more graceful. It's slowing down in the moment and letting yourself being a little bit more mysterious and alluring. It's being the one who's not afraid to strike up a conversation with a guy you think is cute. Because confident girls aren't scared to make the first move. Listen, I get how tempting it is to think that you've just lost it and men aren't attracted to you. And your brain's going to come up with so many reasons to justify that. You don't have the perfect body, you're too old, you have kids. I know where your brain takes this. But honest to God, none of that is true. So if you want help becoming that magnetic hot girl that's drawing the guys, no matter what obstacles you have to fight through, I can help you. I'm Jenny. I'm a life and dating coach who's helped myself and tons of other clients break their sabotaging dating patterns and find quality love for themselves through doing work just like this.
That's why the coping sounds louder now. Labels start flying. Emotionally unavailable, intimidated, afraid of strong women. Because it's easier to insult indifference than to admit attraction isn't guaranteed. Men aren't intimidated, they're disinterested. And disinterest can't be negotiated, shamed, or argued back into existence.
You're kind of tired being the woman who never quite feels good enough, never quite as successful, never quite as funny, never quite as put together, never quite as smart, never quite as beautiful, never quite as popular, never quite as chosen. And I see you. I see that you're tired. You're tired of trying so hard in a world that appears to praise everyone but you. You're tired of always being the friend who gives, yet no one else seems to give that way to you. You're tired of walking into rooms and feeling inconsequential. You feel a little bit like background noise in a world that celebrates boldness and bravery and beauty. I need you to understand that the women you're comparing yourself to aren't better than you. They're not inherently more loving or more deserving or more brilliant. The difference is they believe in their worth. They're not naturally more powerful than you, but belief in yourself, when worn consistently, looks like power. They carry a quiet yet bold kind of confidence, and that's how they enter the room. But it's not because the world ever told them they are enough, because this world we're in is kind of committed to making women feel like they're not enough. No, it's because they stopped waiting for the world to tell them they were enough. It was a choice that she made. You feel like she's more worthy than you. She is not. She just believes that she is worthy. Her validation does not come from out there. It comes from in here. She's not more worthy. She's just more certain of her worth. More certain of who she is, more certain of what she brings. It's not her beauty or her status that you see, it's her self-respect. You don't have to be louder, you don't have to be more perfect, you don't have to be more like her. You just have to stop trying to earn your worth and just start to claim it. You are not invisible, you're just unrehearsed in the practice of being seen. There is no difference between her and you except she stopped asking for permission to be enough.
The brutal irony? Men didn't disappear. They're everywhere, working, training, building, laughing. They're just no longer looking in the same direction. And once a man stops centering validation, he stops noticing who's missing it.
When it goes quiet, I start feeling invisible. Like I'm just not noticed anymore.
Men don't feel that way. Silence usually feels like calm to us.
Calm? No. For me, it feels empty, like something is missing, even if nothing is wrong.
I guess men just assume if nothing is said, nothing needs fixing.
But women notice the small things. We notice when effort fades, even quietly.
So peace can look like neglect. That makes sense. I didn't think of it that way.
Exactly. It's confusing. Nothing is broken, but it still hurts.
Yeah, men miss that. We think being present is enough.
Presence without care feels like absence, even if it isn't meant that way.
Silence isn't neutral. It carries meaning, even when we don't intend it.
And the longer it goes on, the louder the silence becomes.
All right, get in the discussion in the comment section and follow for more videos.
So the realization creeps in slowly, painfully. Being seen was never permanent. Attention was conditional. And when men finally chose themselves, the spotlight didn't dim. It moved on.
Men stopped playing by the rules. And now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.